Salama family,
Salama.
welcome back to our channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brother Atur,
And I'm Isha G.
and we are Stepping Stones to Home.
Yes, it's been a minute since we've been on here.
We took a little hiatus.
We did, and we told y'all that we were going to be taking a break after
My surgery.
my husband's surgery.
Yes.
And as you can see, he's recovering well.
Even lost a few pounds.
So, we're back on here, and we just wanted to give just like a little update. I know, we haven't been on here a lot. A lot has been going on, even with the hiatus. There's still been a lot going on. And so, unfortunately, we don't always have the opportunity to hop on here like we would want to, but hopefully we'll have more of an opportunity soon. So we're going to just let you guys know what we've been up to these past few months.
Yeah. So, as you guys know, early March of 2023, we...
February.
It was February?
Yeah, it was February.
February, wow. Same time we're in now.
Yeah.
We started our process for starting our nonprofit here on the continent.
Yeah.
We were able to get it started back in the U.S. so that we could start an international one here.
Yeah.
Because, even though we're in Tanzania right now, our goal is to be able to do these things wherever the Most High sends us, So we started the process back in February with getting an office opened here in Tanzania. And it took all the way until the last week of November before we even got our registration for this side. Everything was done in the U.S., but on this side, it took us all the way till November, the end of November, to get our registration done.
Yeah.
And so, here we are, we're thinking, okay, boom, we got this done, everything's gonna be smooth sailing. So then we had to get our TIN number, which is kind of like the EIN number for a business in the U.S. That took at least 2 to 3 weeks to get done.
So we didn't get that until December.
Right.
So, so something that we were told last year, February, it will only take 2 to 3 months to have completed the entire process. It took right at a year to get everything done.
Yes.
For this side. And so it has been, I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I cannot tell you how many times I have felt like giving up. I have felt like just like, you know what, just, I'm done. I don't want to do it no more. And you know that you can't give up, but you just feel that way because I'm like, why in the world does things have to be so difficult? Why can't things be simplified? It's so easy to simplify things, but they are not simplified.
Especially here on the continent. No.
Here they're not. And it's just so many things that you go through and for no reason. And you're like, why? Like, wouldn't it be so much easier if it were just like this? And granted, I know, this is a different country, but I can't even lie, y'all. Like, everything ain't sugar and cream in the U.S. and it ain't on the continent either. And so you go through a lot of trials and, not everything in the U.S. I can say is bad. Now, I'm talking about when it comes down to streamlining certain things. Infrastructure-wise, right. But not everything.
IT systems.
Right. But not everything is bad on the continent either.
We got real food.
We got people trying to shoot you.
Right.
But it's just, it's things good and bad on both sides.
Give and take, no matter where you go in the world.
It is. And learning how to live in a place that's not what we're accustomed to, it can be a headache. And so We just gonna talk about some of the stuff we went through. We're trying to get this whole thing started. So go ahead.
So, as you guys know, we did last year, we did the borehole at the school. We fixed the roof, fixed the stairs, put railings up. And so we also did the community day, our first annual Kanye Fest. We did that. And so now now that we have everything solidified over here with our paperwork, we were like, okay, now we need to open our office here in Tonga because the original office was open down in Dar es Salaam. So we have to open an office in Tonga now. Now, unlike the US, if I open up an office in Atlanta and I go over to Marietta, it's still in Georgia, so it's not a lot of stuff. But here, they come to find out we had to make a trip, a 10-hour trip all the way to Dodoma.
The capital.
Yeah, to talk with the head of community development there, to tell him what we want to do here in the country, and then he gives us a letter giving us permission to do these things, even though we've been registered in the country. We're working with some government officials already, and his term to me was, they're politicians. They'll tell you whatever they want to tell you, but if it don't come through my office, it ain't happening. So, he said, I'm gonna let it slide that you guys did those other things without coming through my office. He goes, because I understand the circumstances. But so apparently everything that you want to do here in Tanzania when you're a nonprofit, every single thing that we want to do for this year of 2024, we have to send him notice that this is what we want to do. This just their rules and regulations. So if anybody who wants to start a nonprofit here, just a heads up. Everything you want to do has got to go through his office first. He signs off on it, then he sends it back to his counterpart here in the region where you are. Okay?
Yeah.
And so then that person, they send it over to the person who's over the NGOs in that region, and then they work with you to make sure that what you want to do happens. They help you with they walk with you to make sure you get all your permits and everything, but you got to go through all that. Now, none of this was told to us back when we got started.
Right.
So I'm just going to be honest. A lot of the lawyers here, they know how to start a business for you as far as getting your business license and everything, but they don't really know a lot of the rules and regulations. So a lot of this stuff has been just trial by fire.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot.
Yeah. And then there are a lot of rules that have changed for nonprofits on the Tanzania side, because when we originally started this, rules were one way, and by the end of us getting our license, rules have changed for nonprofits here on the continent.
Right, because I just want to say, as you guys, well, if any of you have ever dealt with a nonprofit in the U.S., a nonprofit can legally in the U.S. and most other countries, for example, we're doing urban development. So in the U.S., if we were conducting business there, we could build like 200 homes and rent them out. And then the money that comes in from those homes that we're renting out in low-income areas can go towards projects that for the community. If we want to do parks, if we want to do community centers, school programs, community food forests, different things like that. If we wanted to do those things, those funds can go towards that. However, here on the continent, well, speaking for Tanzania, let me not speak for other places. Tanzania has found that a lot of these large, well-known nonprofits have actually been used by people for sex trafficking
and
money laundering. So in Tanzania, the law states that if you are a nonprofit, you are not allowed to make a profit. So you cannot build something. So let's say we wanted to build a plaza, right? And rent the plaza out. Now, how does that help the community? Well, now people can put stores there and it creates jobs for people. But at the same time, the rent that we would be collecting so that we could do these projects that we have for the community, we have a steady flow of income. you know, but a lot of people, they think that nonprofits are strictly just donations. I'm going to be honest. Not a lot of people give to nonprofits, okay? For the same reason that Tanzania has said, you know, we did some research on it. It sounded crazy to us at first, but then we started doing the research. What was it that you found out about a lot of places?
Yeah, like one, I was shocked the National Cancer Society was actually a fake nonprofit. And I was like, wow, that's like a big name nonprofit that I heard for years, but come to find out it actually was not a legit nonprofit. So, you know, we just, like my husband was saying, we began to do our research on these companies that, these nonprofits that are actually using it for the wrong reason. And so they put a stop to there being any way for these people to come and actually clean their money or, you know, do all sorts of child trafficking, all kind of stuff like that, you know. And so because of that, we're like, man, what do we do? Because we don't want to, you know, be labeled or somebody to think that our nonprofit is, you know, like that. So we consulted an international lawyer to find out, like, what can we do? Because we want to make sure that we're on the up and up and we're legit, because we legit are here on the continent and in our community, you know, trying to get things done here. And so after that meeting, it was like, oh boy, because then it's like, well, you got to take this class and you got to take that class and you got to, you know, make sure you're having meetings about this and coming up with resolutions for this and resolutions for that. And it was just like a plethora of things that, boom, now we got to do all this other stuff because we have to make sure that we are letting the world know that we are against those things and that we're putting transparent, we're putting certain measures in place to make sure that, you know, everybody that's a part of our company, our nonprofit, knows that we ain't playing that mess. Like, we're not, this is about the community and, you know, that's it. So it's just a lot that we had to do after talking to the international lawyer. And thankfully, we've gotten a lot of it done, but we haven't completed all of those steps that he's given us. But it was like, it made me feel just so defeated at that time. I'm like, we've done all this to do things in the community, and just we do one thing and then boom, you get hit with something else, and you do something else to go forward and then you get hit with something else. And so I just felt just like, man, I really feel like just giving up, just because it's every step of the way, it's like a hurdle. You go 5 steps and then it's a wall. You go 5, you finally get over that wall, you go 5 more steps and it's another wall. And so it's just been a lot of time, you know, consulting with lawyers and both sides and trying to make sure that we're operating within the legal parameters in both countries, so that we don't get into any trouble, you know. And it takes a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of stuff that we don't, you know, it's the part that we don't like to do, the research part, and, you know, getting papers, you know, put together and everything, compliance paperwork and everything. So that's the part of it that, you know, a lot of people don't know exists, but it's a heck of a lot of paperwork involved when you're getting a nonprofit off the ground. It's a lot of visibility that you have to create so that the world can see that you are legit and you're about what you're saying you're doing. So we've been doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. And I just want to say, even if you're starting a business, you know, piece of advice here, wherever the Most High sends you, speak to government officials, you know, speak to your local officials, talk to multiple lawyers, international lawyers as well, and just tell them, say, hey, you know, I would like to do this here in your country. If it's an international lawyer, I'm going to be doing this in this country, and just find out what things pertain to you as a foreigner doing business in those countries, because everything is not as plain as it may seem. And a lot of things that we're used to access and ease in the U.S., when you come over here, it's not like that. We've been here 2 years and 9 months, 8 months?
9 months.
Yeah, June will be 3 years, and we're still learning stuff, because they move different. They move different on the continent. Things that, like I said, that we think should be simple are not simple here, because a lot of the infrastructure things that we have, IT things that we have set up in the U.S., they don't have set up here, and so just make sure that you cross all your T's, dot all your I's, underline punctuations everywhere it needs to be.
Yeah, because you don't want to get into any trouble when you're doing business on the continent.
Right.
So that's what we have been up to. And other than that, we've been living, doing our best to get well.
Yes. We had so I got sick, right? And I was down, had headache, body aches, mucus, coughing, high fever. And then ECG was taking care of me. And she said, let's take you to the hospital. So I went to the hospital. I tested negative for malaria, and then she got sick.
Right. So both of us have been getting over all of this. But, I'm thankful because we have not, I think this is like the first time we've gotten sick on the continent.
First time.
Like, we've been here almost 3 years, and it's like the first little sniffles and everything. And I'm thankful that it hasn't been like a, sick and then you get well and then you get sick again, and so I'm thankful, that we're doing well.
Yes, very thankful.
Other than that, what else has been going on here on the continent?
So here on the continent, there's a lot going on. I've personally noticed there hasn't been a big uproar like it was in the past couple of years about people coming to the continent. Mm-hmm. We've heard a lot of people that exiting out of the continent. Yeah, there's some things that are not perfect here on the continent. Not going to sugarcoat it. There's corruption. There's corruption. So, it's more in your face than what you see in the U.S. So a lot of people, they can't handle that, because if I disguise corruption, I can get over on you easier. But when it's right in your face, it's like, hey, I'm not going to let you do that to me. Right. But, in the U.S., we let them do it to us because they disguise it behind things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
But what do you think about all the people that have left and went back to the U.S.?
Now, I can say, I can't just say for where we are, Tanzania.
All over the continent.
Yeah, we've heard about it from all over the continent. A lot of people have left and either gone back or gone somewhere else. Some places are kind of strange to me that people are going to, but I think it's exactly what you're saying. It's the in-your-face corruption that we're not accustomed to.
Right.
So, you know how we are. We like, nah, I ain't about to put up with that. So a lot of people, they get tired of it, even though it's not like highway robbery, but just you get tired of the foolishness. I ain't gonna even lie. You get tired of foolishness that you have to deal with sometimes here. And it's sad because it's our people, and you're like, our people, not all our people, but
some of them over here.
Right. But it's like we always have a bad rep. No matter where we go, people view black folks as, corrupt just bad apples. And I hate it that on the continent here that you see so much of that corruption. You know, even though I understand that the people may not have a lot of money and different things like that, but our people, one thing that we are born with is knowing right from wrong. And so, you know, there's no excuse for it, quite honestly. And I think a lot of our people they get tired of the in your face corruption. And so they kind of feel like, well, why, you know, deal with that here on the continent? You know, it's problems back where I'm from. I prefer just to deal with the problems back where I'm from because at least I know the territory. At least I know what to expect.
Right.
You know, but out here in any country, you don't know what you're going to get because you weren't born and raised there. So
also, let's just be honest, you know, when back in the U.S., you know, it's a lot easier on you because you got family around you. Mm-hmm. You know, you can make friends here on the continent, but, you know, you got your people you grew up with and everything back right. there. You know, everything flows the way you grew up. You're used to it. But when you come out here, most of us, our families are back in the U.S. looking at us like we crazy. You know, like, what you doing going over there to Africa? They don't like us over there, saying foolishness like that, you know. And then when something is not, when times are hard, we've had some hard times here, you have nowhere to turn but to the Most High. You know, you can't turn to mama and daddy. You can't turn to your sister, your brother. You can't turn to auntie and uncle. You know, so all you can do is turn to the Most High.
Yeah.
And so, you know, this walk of coming over here to the continent at this time, you know, is not for the faint of heart.
It's not easy. And then I think another thing, because a lot of people come with their children, and we always say, first of all, be led for the Most High.
Yes.
But it's not one of those things where it's like he's told you to come, but it's like, well, you should go wherever you want because people have been moving around for ages, right? I think it's difficult for children to come to a place where there aren't really anything for them. What do you think?
There's nothing here for them. I'm just gonna be honest, and I'm talking about Tanzania. There's a movie theater where we are. They show all Bollywood movies. Mm-hmm. So everything is, you know, I'm just be honest, I don't know what the Indian language is, if it's called speaking Indian, but, you know, it's Bollywood movies and it's got subtitles.
Yeah, and it's only one theater.
One theater.
One.
There's no bowling alleys, there's no skating rinks. The mall is all the way 6 hours away. And then, like in Dar es Salaam, it's a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, there's nothing really to do in Dar either.
Walk around the mall, go to the beach, and go to restaurants.
Yeah.
So there's not things that kids really want to do.
Right. It's nothing really for families. So I think a lot of times people are not researching enough to see if it's somewhere that's going to be good, not just for the mother and the father, but for the children as well. For those who are just trying to find somewhere to move to. So they come, and when they get here, because they see other people enjoying their time here, and so they're like, man, I want to go there because, you know, they just relax and whatever. But, you know, for us, it's just the two of us. So we don't have any little ones here that we have to make sure that they're having a good time and a good life and everything like that. So I don't think people do a lot of research to find out if it's going to be somewhere where their children would be okay, you know, growing up.
Now, we're not saying children don't. I mean, we know plenty of families that are here, their children love it, you know, but you know, a lot of those children were born here, so they don't know about the stuff we know about in the U.S. You know, but if you bring a child that grew up in the U.S. and you bring them here, right, it's a whole different ball game.
Right. So I think that's two of the big reasons, you know, not doing enough research. There is a lot of corruption on the continent. I can't lie, because
continent-wide,
we know people in several African countries, and it's like the stories are mirrored.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's ridiculous. It's a shame. You know, you really would love for our people to get it together and just stop with the foolishness.
But we want that in the U.S. too.
Right.
So,
you know, I think that's the biggest reason. The other reason, and I can say for me, is from what I have seen. I think that there are a lot of people that do want us here, but there are some people that would prefer not to have us here on the continent at the same time.
yeah, there's different nationalities here on the continent, you know, and it's not always those of the Caucasian persuasion.
Right.
You know,
who just don't want us here.
Right. Because we are a threat to them. And I love being a threat.
But yeah, so it's you deal with that with some people also, and then there are the ones that they say they want you here, but you can kind of tell, like,
they talking out the side of their neck.
Nah, right? They don't really want us here, you know. But I can say that for me, from what I have seen, that's not the majority.
Right.
Is not the majority, but there are those here who don't want us here. I'm just being honest. And I'm not talking about just people who don't, I'm talking about people that look just like us, people that are us. They don't want us here. One thing that we have come to terms with is that we've been gone for a long time, and it don't matter how many times you're trying to explain to them, you know, this whole slave trade thing, you are not.
You're just not gonna win that argument.
You're not gonna win it. You're not, quote unquote, African to them, and it's a shame. It's a shame for the most part that it's like it just doesn't register, you know, to them. And even if they do know it, you're still not going to be accepted as somebody who was born on the continent.
Right.
And so you have to be okay with being a foreigner over here. And just, we see, like, honestly, it don't matter how cool we are. They have their tribes that they come from individually. Like here in Tanzania, it's so many tribes.
120.
They're all different. And guess what? We are our own tribe as well, and we're different. Mm-hmm. And then with amongst us, you know, from the different areas we come from, you know, the South is very different from our West or up North.
Right.
So, you know, we're all very different at the same time. And so when you come here, we are literally trying to merge cultures.
We're trying to force things.
And you can't do that. You know, it's don't take the Most High to actually do that. So, you know, I know a lot of people come and they're like, you know, I want to put on my African attire. Most of them don't even wear no African attire. We wear it more than them a lot. Right. But you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with the fact that we are different. We grew up different. And we are foreign to them. And they're foreign to us. And that doesn't mean that we can't live together amongst each other, but we just have to accept that and be okay with it and not try and force each other to be what the other one is. Right. Because we're so far removed from everything they know on this continent. That doesn't mean that we should not put in efforts to learn, but I think we should be putting in efforts to learn each other. You know, not just one-sided, because I hear so much we need to, you know, go back and learn about our roots and everything like that. And I think it's good to learn about those things, but I think it's good for them to learn about us as well, you know, and about what we went through as well as what they went through. The culture that we ended up creating because of what we were given, and the culture that they grew up in because they were able to remain here on the continent.
Right.
So I think it's important for both sides to, learn each other and not try to force yourself to be like the other one. And I think you have to be okay with being a foreigner.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode. Thank y'all for taking the time out to watch this video. We got more content coming your way. And please, you guys support what we're doing here on the continent. You can support our household if you'd like through our Cash App. Is $ stepping stones to home, completely spelled out, and that's the number 2. Also go to visit our website, zionurbandevelopment.org. We are a 501c3, so anything that you donate towards what we're doing here on the continent is tax deductible. And please remember to support the Dry Bones Project and everything that we're all doing here on the continent. So I just want to thank you guys. You got anything else, love?
Not right now. I have some more for y'all at another time.
All right, family. Salama, and it was great speaking with you again. Love y'all.
Love y'all.